Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to
Okay.
another exciting episode of the Paul Brown Show. This evening, we're taping live at Two Expose You Studio. We have Mr. Daryl Goodman, Miss Christina Ellis, and Mr. Ray Harvey. Thank you for watching. And today we have as a special guest Miss Janice Shirley, and she's calling from Charlotte, North Carolina. How you doing, Miss Shirley?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, Mr. Paul?
I'm doing great. Tell the audience about yourself.
Well, I'm a certified peer support specialist. I'm an advanced level facilitator. I'm also a great advocate for people with HIV and AIDS. I'm also the liaison for our B10 chapter here in Charlotte, which stands for Black Treatment Advocacy Network. We're a chapter that's connected to BAI, which is the Black AIDS Institute out of Los Angeles.
HIV. Tell the audience a little bit about HIV.
Um, HIV is a virus that attacks the immune system. What it does, it breaks down your immune system, your CD4s. Like mine, for instance, some people have a higher. Oh Lord, I don't got lost about what I was going to say. It's a virus that attacks the immune system, and it breaks your immune system down to where your immune system is compromised. Where you are able, or either you are exposed to be able to catch normal stuff that your system may can catch and attack. My immune system, it wouldn't be able to fight it, meaning that I have to take some type of medicine to strengthen my immune system. Did that sound
Oh, yes,
clear enough
ma'am.
for
Yes,
you?
ma'am. So, when did you find out that you were HIV positive?
I found out in 2016. Um, my I was wanting to be I was wanting to attend Johnson and Wales. I wanted to learn how to be a cook, a culinary chef. And so when you go get the orientation package from Johnson and Wales at that time, I don't know whether or not they still had a type of orientation package. You have to have a physical. But the physical didn't include me having an HIV test. That was asked when I was having my physical, and I just told the lady, yes, I'll take an HIV test.
Mm. So, how did you feel when you were informed about being HIV positive?
Mr. Paul, just to hear those words was like my whole world had ended at that time. And to just to be told that, and you got like dreams, and you got goals and stuff that you're trying to meet, and you got dreams and stuff that you want to do, because again, I'm also a recovering addict. So in another month I have 17 years clean, but I didn't contract HIV out in the street when I was using. It was when I was clean, when I had 3 years clean, that I contracted HIV. So just finding that out, and you I'm hearing somebody talk.
No, ma'am. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, and just hearing that, and coming out of treatment, having a stable housing for you and your children, and the things you got set in place for you by you being a single mom, things that you have in place to where you're trying to build upon. And when you get that type of news, I know for me it was devastating, because then I didn't know that much about HIV. Only thing I knew is that people was dying. And then it wasn't HIV that you heard, it was that AIDS, or she got that thing, or she's sick, or those kind of words that you will hear.
Okay. How? I mean, do you know how you contracted AIDS? I mean, because it wasn't the addiction.
No, it wasn't the addiction. It was from my youngest daughter father. And even to this day, he's still in denial about him infecting me with HIV.
So how did you you know, knowing that he was the individual that gave you HIV, how did you accept that with him?
If I wanted my life to continue to go on and allow myself to sit in that mode, because what I do know about me is that um I'm a strong woman. And me coming out of active addiction and fighting active addiction, and then this being added on top of that, along with my low self-esteem, I basically, what I did, I put myself in therapy, and then I was going to like aftercare because I knew it had to be a better way for me in order to get through this. I knew it was something that um, I knew God could take and turn it around and use it for the better of me. And then I believed in God. I had some grandmothers that loved God and prayed. So it was at that time that I needed to find out who was that God that they was talking about. The people in the rooms are Narcotics Anonymous. I heard people talk about them having HIV. So I gravitated toward those people to ask questions and try to find out information that could help me.
So, what are the different types of tests that we have offered these days?
What was that again? I didn't hear
What are the
you.
different types of tests? They have like tests that,
Yeah. Well, you can the blood test is you have a blood test. They draw blood. You also have a swab. They got a quick swab. They can also do a finger prick. You know about like how you do a what you do y'all do it for like diabetes or something like that? I'm finna call it sugar, so I'm old. Um when they do the little test, the test your diabetes or test something they do. So we do a finger prick, we do a blood draw, we do a mouth swab.
so how do we stop the increase of the HIV?
People getting tested, making people aware and knowledgeable of their stats. It doesn't matter whether or not you've been married for a long time. It doesn't matter whether or not, and also it doesn't matter. Not that older people are in nursing home. It doesn't matter. You have to get tested. You have to know your partner. Most of all, you have to use condoms. You have to use condoms. You have to use some type of protection, just to keep yourself safe.
So, what advice would you give married couples or people that are in serious relationships that feels that they don't have to take a HIV test because they're in their mind we're married and I must trust in my partner.
Well, I don't know about all that, but one thing I would know, let's both of us go down here and get tested. We can get tested every 6 months if you like. You know what I'm saying? But they need to be tested. But then you still have people that's because we've been married a long time. I mean, they didn't think that the STIs and HIV would run rapidly in the nursing home, but they do
Why you say that?
in their assisted living places because those people in there having sex. If you take and talk to some CNAs that work in the nursing home, and they will tell you, some of them probably can tell you how many times they don't walk in on some of them people in there having sex
In the nursing home.
in the nurse. They still human.
That's true. That's true. But do you think that a lot of it come from the either the older men with the younger women or the the older women with the younger man or
HIV. When I even just looked up a little bit in Charleston, their numbers are high. Men having sex with men is high in Charleston, just like men having sex with men here in Charlotte. So it comes from. I can't say what it comes from. I just know people need to be aware of their numbers. They need to be aware of their health. They need to make sure whoever they're coming in contact with that they need to also let me see your health department papers. Just to keep yourself safe. we just need to be aware of stuff, especially in the Black community.
So, what is BTAN?
BTAN.
Okay, what is that?
BTAN is a Black Treatment Advocacy Network, and what we do, we are. I meant to have my paper out for that to read you our vision. What we do, we back stuff with any social disparities that are affecting our Black community. One thing, and I've had several people come and speak, and Paul, I might need you to come and speak to us probably next
Okay, that'd
year.
be great. That'd be great.
To do that, BTAN is specifically aims to ensure there are enough Black serving institutes, Black leaders with the skills, capacity, and social capital to ensure equitable access and utilization of up-to-date HIV prevention and treatment and strategies for all Black people. Our vision is BTAN is well informed and well equipped, a collective of people who can address barriers specifically to Black communities through knowledge transfer, advocacy, mobilization, and community building. And our values are BTAN is unpolitically Black, exclusive, and informed by community impacting Black people, Black people that have HIV. BTAN values are community knowledge of the HIV science that impacts communities, and we believe that local people know best how to respond to local problems. Now, on Thursday, I did a presentation at my church, Jonaville AME Zion Church, on HIV. And the 3-minute segment that I pulled up was Wilhelmina's War. I don't know whether or not you ever saw that, but it was a grandmother that raised her granddaughter. The mother died, and the grandmother took responsibility of her granddaughter because her granddaughter was born with HIV. So, and it shows her life as she grew, and it talks a little bit about South Carolina, and how things are impacting the Deep South. How they're not. I think it was a hospital closed down. A major hospital that closed down, and I heard your governor at the time, Haley, saying that the president didn't need to tell them how to run their state because their state was just fine. But your Black people in South Carolina were suffering, especially the ones that had contracted HIV. So I was able to show that 3-minute. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. I was able to show 3 minutes of that, and we discussed it. And we talked about, the HIV in the Black community. And some of the questions that was asked of me was why we don't hear about it more like we used to, like it's being swept under the rug. That is because it has came in and affected our community. See, when it was over in the Caucasian community, it was fine because they was getting treated, they was getting the best health care and all this stuff. But when anything, if you notice how when it crosses over into our community, the less funding we get. They start stopping funding, the less funding we get and the less help we get. So we had to explain to them that was some of the reasons why anything that if it comes out in the Caucasian community, they get help, they get all the help they need. But once it crosses over in our community, the less funding, the less help, the less knowledge they want to or training they want to provide us with. They basically just leave us out to dry, really.
That's some very good information that you're providing to the audience, Ms. Shirley. Why is it so important that we get tested?
To know your numbers, to know your stats, to know if you get tested and you are HIV positive, then we need for you to immediately to go get help. You need to be linked to care so that you don't continue to spread it. Because once your numbers get down up under 200, you start being considered as having AIDS. Not saying that you can't come back from that diagnosis, because you can start taking medication and your numbers come up. What I know now today, I think if not next year, no, it is next year, in a couple of months, they will have a shot out where you can get a shot in both cheeks every 30 days where you don't have to take a pill. Because you have some people that just don't like to take pills or like to take medicine. I take 1 pill a day, and I take my pill before I go to bed at night. So, the medication has gotten much better than it was back in the days. And one other thing, Paul, that I found out at church Thursday when they was talking about HIV in the Black community, you had some older members that was there saying that, and I didn't know this. It was enlightening to me that even back in the days like the 50s and 60s and stuff, they had family members that was getting sick, that they didn't talk about it, and they was dying from AIDS. I didn't even know that. I had a couple of the members of my church inform me of that, and it was like, I didn't know that. You had that family member. I had one lady that's a member of my church talk about her brother, and they knew what it was, but they just wouldn't talk about it, and how they kind of ostracized her brother. And she said years later, she said most of the family members feel kind of bad about that because of the information we was able to provide. And then the two young men that I brought with me to church were two preacher kids. So they was able to talk about them being ostracized from their church and how people started to treat them, So it's, I mean, even with our youth, and they worked with the youth. So I'm gonna have to get you in contact with them to let you speak with them also, because they talk about the youth and how the numbers are high in the youth population with HIV, like starting from 13 years old.
So as far as the family support, what do you say to families who has someone that has HIV positive? And so what advice would you give them as far as?
I mean, we're still human, and the family support is the most basic thing that we need in order to help us, because we fall into, I'm just sharing about me. I fell into a state of depression. Not that my family didn't know, is that I didn't want to tell them. I fell into a state of depression. I was already in recovery. I was a recovering addict. I had low self-esteem about myself from the start, and it's with that family support. People can thrive on family support. It's not like we finna run around here. When you touch us, you don't catch HIV. If you kiss us, you don't touch HIV. If we eat out something, you won't catch HIV from us like that. You still have some naive people thinking that's how you catch. That is not how you catch HIV. You can catch HIV from a blood transfusion, breast milk, vagina fluid, anal fluid. If you're using dirty needles behind someone. And then even with the blood, you just not, if I get cut and I bleed on you, it's not going to soak in your skin and you have HIV. You just don't catch it like that.
That's some very interesting information. It's like, especially talking to the youth, what advice would you give parents whose children are, sexually active and they may not be using protection?
I know at our family function, we have a lot of boys. So when we get together, I'll be coming in with condoms and I'll be handing them out. And my mom will be talking about, what is you doing? I said, I'm handing them condoms. I say, how you think this family keep growing? Somebody run around here having sex. So I'll be handing out condoms. And with family members, have an opening where your children can come and talk to you. And then you're going to have to be able to sit down and talk to your kids about sex. School won't have they have sex education, but they don't want you to come in there and teach them about HIV. Ain't no telling how many kids in school have HIV. Because one of the guys that came to the church to speak, he was one of the guys that at 13 contracted HIV. But he went to school and put on programs like I did at the church. He said, so when they got to talking, it wouldn't too much hurt his feeling because he'd been on exposure. And the only way you would know that I have it, like he said, is because you heard it coming from me. So he had to shut down the chatter. But you got to have an opening for your kids to come and really want to come and talk to you about them having sex. And if you don't think they having sex, be like me. I have condoms all around my house. I got a 16-year-old here with me. I can't say what she want and what she will do. I can't watch her all hours of the day. So I just got to talk and trust her. I mean, I just can't. I don't know how parents, it's up to the parents how they want to sit down and talk to their kids, but you better leave it open, because even though the way I was raised, they didn't talk to us about sex. We had to find out about sex in the street. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, you better not have no sex. And you know, when it's time for a lady to, you know, when a little girl is growing up and then it's time for her, you know, that thing happened for her, you know, and you sit down and talk, well, you know, you better not have sex with a little boy. You'll get pregnant now, you know, and stuff. I mean, you have to sit down and you basically have to explain that to them. You know, what's that all about? You need to take them. The first thing you need to talk about is that and protection if you start having sex. Because Bell's telling our kids, you better not go out here and have sex and have pregnant. They're going to do what they want to do. I did, but hell, I was like 26 before I had my first child. You know, so it's up to the parents and whatever type of relationship they have with their children. And what they need to do is push for sex education to be brought in and taught, and HIV need to be the main topic as for HIV in school. But you know, our schools around here, we so Bible building, we so this and so it's so much stuff going on in school too. It's a shame. You will be surprised at the conversations you get back from those students if you go in there and open up that conversation about HIV and sex. You will be surprised. Those are not the kids nowadays are not slow. They're not stupid. They're not dumb, and we got to stop treating them like that.
So what you're trying to say is that parents should, if you know your child is sexually active, take them to possibly get tested to find out if they have HIV or any type of disease before
You
any
can,
sort of possible cure for
and that will open up y'all conversation. However you can go about it. That's a good one. Yeah, take them to be tested.
it. That's some good advice because I'm saying we have a lot of children out there that's having babies and
Yeah.
we so that means that they're having unprotected sex, so and they're not really in a committed relationship. So, that's one of the things that we need to stop closing our eyes to and taking
Mm-hmm.
a good look at.
And another thing, my daughter was telling me, and I'm not going to shout her school out. She was saying, "Mama," and my daughter's in the 10th. She was saying, "Mama, it's about 4 or 5 ninth graders at our school that came in pregnant." I say, "Ninth graders?" She was like, "Yes." So these kids are having sex, and then they don't know who the people that they're having sex with don't have sex with. You know, um, it's if the school don't see what they need to do and the parents don't see what they need to do, who is going to help? Who's going to inform our children about this that's going around? Because see, some of them have the mentality as they can just take a pill if they catch HIV, but who want to take a pill the rest of their life? Who wants to go get a shot the rest of their life? Who wants to do that?
That's true, because that's something that. How do you tell when you meet someone and you are HIV positive? At what time do you feel they should let them know that they have HIV?
I don't. Sometimes I could come right out and say it, and sometimes I'd be like, um, I just wait a while to see how the conversation gonna go, and then I bring up the conversation of how you feel about a person with HIV. I've had some talk to some very ignorant men when it comes to talking about HIV, and they'd be like, "Okay, I don't need to talk to you no more. Let me hang up the phone." So it would by me their answer and the conversation we're having, it would determine me whether or not I want to tell them or not. But if it's an even conversation that we're having, one, I'm like, it wouldn't be a waste. It would be a waste of my time to even say, well, I'm HIV positive, because I've already heard how they felt about one. And maybe that's a downfall, and I should go ahead and let them know. But if they're already feeling that way, then I don't think by me telling them that I'm HIV is going to change the way they feel. So I don't no longer talk to them.
So for a lot of the people that's in relationship that are cheating on their partner,
Ooh.
and they look at someone and they feel like, you know, they look like they don't have it.
Clean.
They're clean.
You
They look like they're clean. You know what I'm saying? And there's no HIV doesn't have a look to it.
It doesn't have a look to it, and you can't look at nobody and tell them if they HIV, they ain't got HIV or not. All thing you want to see is you want to try to get with them. So you be like, well, they ain't, and only way you can tell if a person don't have HIV, they go get tested.
And do you think there's a lot of people out there who have HIV that won't tell you that they
Yeah,
have
because
it?
um yeah, because I've heard stories of how some people are real reckless as for when it comes to them having HIV, because if they have been infected with HIV or contracted HIV from someone, what they do by them hurting, they want to hurt other people. And so, in that case for me, that's how I look at how mine went about, because I wasn't given a choice and you knew that you had it. So you have some people that will take that information, and by them being contracted HIV, they'll go out here and have sex with people and won't tell people that they are HIV positive and continue to spread it.
And what advice would you give them to, as far as doing that to someone? I know they have a feeling like, I don't care now because I have it and I didn't ask for it. Now, my mentality is I'm going to give it to
Yeah.
someone else.
Like hurt people hurt people.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. What advice would you give them?
I mean, I to me, to have a conversation with someone like that, and I'm like, well, why would you go out here and hurt those people that didn't hurt you, but you want to go out here and, spread HIV to other people that had nothing to do with your situation? It's a choice that you made to have sex with this person unprotected, and even if I go back on my case, I was in that trusted stage, so even when I found out, that wasn't my goal to go out and try to hurt other people, because I had been hurt. I needed to find out, what can I do in order to help me to be able to help someone else. And for someone to do that, I mean, they don't know whether or not they're putting their life in danger, because once someone finds out and they know that you probably is the one that they contracted it for, they might come and take your life.
That's true.
You know,
That's true. I mean, what are the different types of medication that are provided, and what's the cost for these medications?
there's HIV has a whole lot of medication. Sometimes the cost, and it depends on your insurance company, but your insurance that you have. Some insurance or one bottle for a 30-day supply could be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Now, with your insurance and your copay, it could be different. Or either the type of insurance you have, you get your medications through your insurance company, which they pay for your medication and you cover. But I can even remember being in a struggle one time, and this was when I was years ago, when I was working at Walmart, and to try to pay my bills, get my insurance, which my copay at the time was $60, and pay my bills at the house. Sometimes that was impossible for me to do. I can remember there was a lady that worked at DSS, and it was like a couple of days. I think it was may have been the day before Thanksgiving, like in somewhere like 2012, somewhere in there, because I was breaking my medication to try to at least keep some of my medication in my system, because I wasn't able to get my HIV medicine. So when I went over to DSS, and one of the receptions at the desk was talking to me, and I was asking her, well, could somebody just at least help me get my medication? I said, that's all I need covered. I don't need y'all to do nothing else, but just keep me covered, where I can be able to get my medication. So what she did, she said, before you leave here, make sure you get some help. And so she called her supervisor. I went in the back and I spoke with her supervisor. So the supervisor, we stayed back there and we was talking, and I was telling her all the thing, and I brung in everything I had to pay, my paychecks, all my bills in my house, everything. And so what she did, she called over to the pharmacy, which was Rite Aid's at the time, and I can remember Miss Sue was the pharmacy there, and so she called and she talked to Miss Sue, and Miss Sue was, she came down, and so Miss Sue did the math, and Miss Sue said, she said, well, can I at least, because I had 7 whole pills left, but I had some pills that I had broken half, so that I wouldn't use up the 7 that I had until I got to them, and I had to break them down. Excuse me. So when I got to the pharmacy and Miss Sue was there, and what she did, the lady paid for 10 pills. 10 pills was $100. That was, and so the other remaining 20 pills that was left in the bottle, I believe they came to like 21. Those 21 pills came to $21. Miss Sue said, I don't know how the math come out. She said, but we're gonna leave this math to God. She said, and if you can, every 20 days, you come in and you pay for you 20 pills. You put you $20 to the side, and every 20 days you come in here. So that's how I basically had to keep get my medication. So if it wasn't for the reception at DSS, her sending me to her supervisor, and her supervisor coming down talking to the pharmacy at Rite Aid, like Miss Sue said, it's not up to them. She knew what type of medication I needed, but it had to be written from somewhere like that where I was able to get medication. So, everybody plays a part in people receiving their medication and stuff. And most people, when you go down to DSS to try to get help, sometimes you get help. And I always say it depends on who you're sitting in front of. I don't know. It just depends.
Why is it so important that we have like groups that people with HIV, similar to Narcotic Anonymous, where they're able to get together and talk about HIV and how they're dealing with it?
The same reason why we need Narcotics Anonymous, the support. See, those support groups helps us when we don't have that family support. That those support groups play a part in that. And then I love groups. I think groups are powerful, because one thing I can do in those groups is get phone numbers and make friends and be able to call people that are just like me, that either going through or has been through things just like me. So I'm able to make new friends. I'm able to build a whole nother family if I choose to. And that keeps me going. The people in that support group. So that's one reason why support groups are, to me, they're a powerful vehicle for me. They still are, because I like going to groups. I like sitting in groups. I like talking about how I'm feeling, what's going on with me, and then 9 out of 10, somebody in there would be able to give me a suggestion or say something that'll be able to help me, especially help me save my life. So I love support groups. Support. Some people are scared of support groups, and one reason why most people are scared to come into HIV support groups, because somebody might be in there that they don't know they got HIV. But I be trying to tell them, if they're in their support HIV group, they have HIV, but they're scared that the people going to take their information out, which also has happened to me too. People take your information and carry it out and try to tell other people about you. So that's why most people are. That's why groups are powerful. That's why most people are kind of scared to go into HIV groups, because they're not ready for anyone to know their status. They're afraid because if their family find out, how they'll be ostracized, and how most people are use that against them. It's such a heavy stigma surrounding HIV. And I'm like, if we get rid of the stigma, just like a stigma surrounding mental health, if we get rid of the stigma, more people will come about, more people will talk about it. And then it'll just be like anything else. To me, it would be just like you can have breast cancer, just like you have cancer. They have all kind of fun things to do around that time. When it comes to HIV, it's I'm not saying that it's not big, but the people that live up under that stigma is scared to even open their mouth to come out and speak about it. They may have 1 or 2 people that know. Then some people might not ever know that you have HIV. Maybe something that you're carrying. But what I can tell you, I can remember holding that, and that's such a heavy burden to be holding that. That you got to tell somebody. I know I did. I needed to tell somebody. I needed to open my mouth and speak that so that I can lighten that burden that I was carrying on my shoulders because it was so heavy. It was real heavy. So it's that's why those groups are important. That's why it's important for people. If somebody revealed to you that they HIV positive, which I did, and somebody took my information out and told somebody, and somebody calls me trying to say something about my HIV. I've had letters sent to my mailbox saying, "I'm sorry for your sympathy," and I open it up. It's got all kind of words. I'm called all kind of B's and everything. You gonna die, this, that, and other. I've had sugar poured in my gas tank. I've had somebody call me out and say, "That's why you got HIV. That's why your children." I've had all kind of stuff said against me with my HIV status, and I've learned how to draw a thick skin with that. And it okay. And what do you have anything else to say? Because you need to find something else new to say because that's not phasing me no more. You know, and then I speak so much on my HIV status to where it doesn't. Like I say, my skin has grown thick behind people being so nasty and so rude with it.
So how does your children handle that as far as your HIV status with their peers?
My kids don't really talk about the fears. They bring people to me.
Okay.
They um my oldest daughter one time had a friend, and she kept saying, "Mom," I kept telling him he need to call and talk to you. He need to call and talk to you. So, and then I gave her some information to take back to the person if they didn't want to call and talk to me about it, because she was saying how his family was treating him and stuff. But my kids think I can save everybody, though. We've taken their people from my daughter's school and stuff. All because the family keeps moving or getting put out, and the daughter's needing somewhere to stay. I've taken people in that looking for somewhere to live for a little while in my house to help them, and then they leave and go back leave and go back their business and do what they need to do. And I mean that's my kids don't, it doesn't affect them like that.
Mm. Miss Shirley, so what advice would you give as far as our viewing audience, like if they need to get more information about HIV, if they're HIV positive, or if they're thinking that they may be, how would they get in contact with you, and what would be the different steps that they possibly need to take?
Well, if they're thinking that HIV positive, they don't need to get in contact with me unless they wanting to just sit and just talk. Um, the first thing they might need to do is go to their local health department and get tested, and then ask the people at their local health department, do they know of any support? No. Once they get tested, if they're tested positive, then they need to ask the people at the health department what is their next step, as for linking them to some type of service, like a doctor. When they leave, before they leave the health department, my thing would be the health department need to link them to some type of services, as for like getting their medicine, a doctor, getting their medicine, um, the doctor from there somewhere in there where not they have any type of support groups. But then you got Google. Google is everybody friendly, so they can Google stuff, look up stuff to see whether or not are there any support groups anywhere. Talk to people that are HIV positive. Um, to get in contact with me, you will have to get in contact with Carolina Care Partnership.
Okay, what do you have the number for that location, or?
My work number for that would be 704-361-5898. And if they are HIV positive, or they're wanting to just sit and talk, or if they need some type of information, then if they come through me, then I will connect them with three of our prevention specialists that we have, and they will be able to tell them the next steps that they need to take.
Okay, we're running short on time, Miss Shirley. What one advice would you give our viewing audience as we end this show?
Know your numbers. Go get tested. Don't be trusting people, not even if been husband, wife, boyfriend, and girlfriend for years. Go get tested. Don't be scared. Just go get tested. If somebody come out positive, somebody ain't been as trustworthy as the other ones feel, as the other one feel they have been. Just go get tested and go from there. You know, we have counselors, doctors, case managers, housing coordinators. It's a lot of stuff out there to help you um with your HIV status.
Miss Shirley, thank you for coming on the show, and I look forward to talking to you more about this topic to our audience. Audience, thank you for
Okay.
watching the show, and you be encouraged.